guys? Welcome back to a new episode. Today you can see this episode is kind of elevated on a new level compared to every single other episode of this podcast. Welcome to episode 9 or something of the Henry Polite Does Music-Related Things Unofficial podcast title. Today is our first special guest. He's the most special man in the whole entire world.
It's me.
Sunny D. It is Sunny D.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here.
Me and Sunny D. His actual name is David Style, but I will be referring to him as Sunny D throughout this podcast because he told me that's...
And him, Teddy P.
Oh yeah, Teddy P. We have known each other for... not too long.
Almost a year.
And we're in the middle of nowhere, but we'll get to that. So, just talk about, why do we have a connection?
Why do we have this?
Why do we know each other?
Why do we know each other? Let's see. About a year ago. Because just an intro, my introduction into music was a band, local Orem, Utah band called the Goodfellas, and boy has that been a ride and a half, and things haven't always gone smooth sailing with that band, and because of that, me and a couple of my bandmates reached a point where we wanted to branch out musically. And
I've never... Okay.
Yeah, and
when was this?
We talked about writing different kinds of music, different ideas, but it was all kind of just talk. And then one day I stumbled upon an Instagram profile called Teddy P. And I was looking, and I had seen him at middle school and high school, seeing him around, but I'd never had a conversation with him.
Yeah. So, wait, this kid, and we went to the same junior high, and I knew this kid was, the popular kid, and I was the kid with, 2 friends, right? That's how it was, and I knew this kid just because, he's the popular kid. You hear his name.
Preppy kid.
David Style, the wealthier preppy kid.
Rip. Yeah.
Hey,
that's okay.
I thought he was a prep, because it's cringe junior high and
Yeah, that's just how it is.
Like a normie.
Weird time.
And so I just wanted to interject that. I thought it was funny, but...
Anyway, so I stumble upon this account, and for me, I have a love for synthesizers, electronic music, all that stuff. And I had been starting to collect some synthesizers, and I hadn't really met anyone like that. I had never met another fellow synth connoisseur like myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked on his profile, and I saw that he had a Moog Subfatty. So that was one thing. And he played the sax, and I saw some of his videos, and his stuff was it was good stuff.
Yeah, that was in the early days of Teddy B, where it was just iPhone recordings.
Yeah.
I would just record.
Well,
on
it sounded
iPhone.
Good, and I
showed
the account to my buddies, and we organized a jam session.
You showed the account to your... I guess, yeah, that makes sense. It's funny thinking about.
Yeah.
You're yo, does this guy look cool? I guess they said yeah.
Well, I said, yo, check out this guy. His videos are sick, and I think Sorry, there's cars passing by.
Yeah, guys, don't mind the car. We are, if you can't tell, in the Salt Flats.
That's kind of neat. There's 3 of them. Yeah.
It's a whole brigade.
An armada.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, I remember the particular video. It was you were playing sax and playing a synthesizer simultaneously. And to this day, that's something that blows my mind.
I don't know what you're talking about, but okay.
No, it's on your profile, I promise.
Piano? Was it
no,
piano?
You were playing the Mini.
Okay. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah, and we were all blown away by that. And And the music we were listening to at that time, it was almost like fate that like the music that we were digging and the kind of music that we were trying to write would work with a saxophonist. And we invited him over to the studio, the place we were playing at the time, and we invited this other singer to come over, and so there was 5 of us. Yeah. So keyboard, drums, guitar,
Dave's
bass.
on keys.
I'm on keys. That's what I play.
He's the key player. Yeah.
And Henry on sax, and we like jammed a couple different things, but we wrote this song in one session, and it was just amazing. Well, I remember it being amazing.
Guitar, yeah, it was great. Guitar, I didn't even know his name, so I was like, guitar guy. Aiden, he had cool chords. That was basically it, right? He had like cool chords.
That I showed him.
And he was like, oh, you showed him? Oh, shoot.
No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I don't think you're just kidding, Dave.
I did. I'm actually not mad at anything.
Anyways. Yeah, he just has this cool chord progression. And for me, this was kind of an important moment. This was an important jam. Because I've never had people outside of school be like, yo, wanna jam? Which seems really dumb, but like, I don't know, just didn't happen to this point. And this is like the middle of quarantine, where it's just like quarantine, you know, it's like nothing's going on.
What had you been doing at this time?
Quarantine was just not good. You know, like weird, like depressive episodes, not wanting to do music, just like quarantine musician vibe, right?
Yeah.
And so I was actually pretty stressed about this because you guys had like clout.
Really?
Yeah, I was pretty stressed.
That's so funny because it was such like a chill thing.
Yeah, I get there and everyone's really chill. Internally, I'm like freaking out though.
Really?
Yes, like dead serious. You're talking to me about the Moog 1 and I'm like, dude. The Moog 1? What? Okay. I guess, yeah.
What do you mean? That's
No, it was cool. I'm like, okay, so this kid knows synths, at least. And then I think I heard you, while setting up, play like a C blues scale or something. You were just jamming on a blues scale. This just sounds kind of rude, but it was kind of a relief. Because I was like, okay. He's like jamming on a blues scale.
Yeah.
That means these guys aren't like crazy advanced.
Oh no,
like,
yeah, we're definitely novices, or at least I was.
And I didn't know that. I like had no clue what this would be
and that's just the thing. Like Goodfellas like started out like I'm self-taught. I just kind of I love playing the piano.
He's good at piano though.
And I'm very mediocre. I mean, I don't have any actual training, and it was just like Goodfellas was crazy because I was in way over my head from the very beginning.
How did you get the part? Just knowing?
Well, I'm the one that formed the band.
Okay.
And that's kind of why. I think my skill kind of like it wasn't really like instantly apparent how bad I was. It was just like they had to kind of like Aiden had to oftentimes teach me the chords, and to this day he has to tell me what key we're in. But we kind of just we had this energy with Goodfellas that even though I wasn't the best and I was pretty bad at what I did, it worked.
You got taught the chords and it worked.
Yeah, and just because we had this energy that as a group that even to this day I haven't really found with any other band. So anyway, we invited him over and we had a great time. I thought it was great, but for reasons I probably shouldn't say, the jam session with this group didn't happen again.
Yes. So as I said, I was super stressed out about, and it was a great jam. He recorded a voice memo. I listened to it back. I'm like, this is the coolest thing I've ever done in my whole life. I'm serious.
It was pretty insane.
This was truly an important moment in my life because I'm like, this is so cool, and this is with random people I don't know. I'm doing crazy notes, And it was just cool. I'm like, this was actually cool. I've never done like a cool thing where it was just like teenagers outside of like band, because band is like band. It was like a jam.
Yeah.
And as you said, it didn't happen again. And this is like quarantine, and it was kind of like, okay, yeah, we'll get back together. I was like, yo, if you want to do this again, guys, hit me up. I remember saying that. And it didn't happen, and I was like, well, I guess I don't really know. I thought they kind of dug it, but maybe they didn't.
Well,
I was kind of sad.
Well, because we actually did dig it.
I know, and
Aiden and Christian had some issues with the singer.
yeah. I just didn't.
And so that kind of caused some tension between me, Aiden and Christian. That's the guitarist and the drummer, and because of that, and we still had a great time, and we still said we wanted to continue it.
Yeah, it was great.
But like there are things that you say you want to do, but I think there's a difference between saying you want to do something and actually putting in the effort to make it happen again.
I couldn't put in any effort to make it happen again. All right.
And that shows and it seems that Aiden and Christian didn't necessarily. I guess they had other priorities, but I think at the end in the end, because I think I'm the one that enjoyed that whole thing the most. Like, I was just vibing. I was having such a good time.
Yeah,
the song we wrote was great.
That was great. That was a great time.
Yeah, and I felt like I had tapped into something different. Having someone that I could relate to I don't know, like, because I don't know the world of guitar or drums or even vocals.
Same.
So I always feel like in the band, I kind of felt distanced from that a little bit. Yeah. I was the keyboardist.
Yeah, you're the keyboardist.
And that's like, that's all I need to say.
Yeah, that's all you need to say.
But I had a desire to do more with music, even before, like, even right when Goodfellas started. I knew that wasn't gonna be the only thing. And I felt like meeting Henry was an opportunity for that more that I was looking for. And then that leads to the very first synth ambient jam.
Yeah, you came to my house.
I came to your studio, and
it
was such a good vibe there. You gave me one of these Guadalajara things. I had like 3 of them. Yeah. And I instantly was like, hey, I want to do an album.
No, yeah, we just kind of just made music. I don't want to say like we clicked, because that sounds really stupid.
But like we did.
But the vibe worked well. It was like, okay, so the kid from like 8th grade, he was the prep. Okay, he likes music, he likes synths, we vibe. There's a truck right now, so. And we made good stuff, and now we're here, I guess. That's basically it. But this show's to know, I guess DM people on Instagram asking to work with them. And I never recorded with the Goodfellas, but that's not the important part. The important part is I went to that jam.
Yeah, and I think like
I'm just networking, really.
Yeah, and
it's just networking. Yeah.
No, it's true. Like had I not reached out and DM'd him, and had he not like stepped outside his comfort zone and just done it, like I feel like it would have been very easy for you to flake, and then we would have none of this may have happened, like.
I feel like it eventually, right?
Maybe.
Like Teddy P. Maybe not. I don't know.
I mean, it's so hard to know, but I think there is something to the fact that like we both stepped out of our comfort zones to try something new, and it worked, and here we are.
Yeah, yeah, and it worked. This is a success story.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, whether our music actually, whether anyone listens or not.
Pause. Check that out.
Anyway, sorry.
No. Hopefully you could see that there's just some people,
we're just waving, networking.
Their hands out. Yeah,
about
networking. So, network. And now, our projects, we've gone from jamming, but projects keep getting bigger and bigger. And now we're working on one of the biggest projects yet, titled Super Studio.
Super Studio
What is Super Studio?
It really was just an idea.
Yeah, it was a concept.
It was a concept that we hadn't defined yet, and because we had talked about, or one day I was just kind of thinking, like, what? Because I've got my gear and you've got your gear. We got our two studios. What would happen if those worlds collided? And it's like we doubled up. It's like, I don't know, like double the gear, double the possibilities, some people say, but it was more just like, what would happen if we just combined our studios and just sat down and recorded an album? That was kind of the idea.
Yeah.
Nothing more, nothing less. It was just we go
Grind
in
out some stuff
and just see what happens. And that's something that I think is really cool and pretty rare. Just like, because a lot of people, and with Goodfellas, we jammed. The writing came out of the jam sessions where we then kind of solidified the songs and then went and recorded. But after my first recording experience with Goodfellas, I realized that there's something to having a longer recording process and almost combining those two worlds of writing and recording. And that's kind of what I wanted to see with Super Studio. And it's still in progress right now.
Yeah, we've been going at it. I know we had like a pre-planned time
date, but now it's.
Has it gone over? Probably.
Yeah, it has. But I kind of.
Who cares?
I kind of knew that. Like, we initially said 2 weeks, record an album. And I think we could have done it, like, had we spent, like, 8-hour days in the studio every single day.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
And we probably need to be more, like, adamant about...
Well, sometimes it's like, you got stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes mostly it's just, like, women-related. With peace and love.
Peace and love, baby.
Yeah, that's usually. But...
Yeah,
but that sounds like we've made, like, 2 things. No, we've, like, actually... This is the most music I've made in a short amount of time, probably ever, so...
Yes.
Definitely ever.
Wow, how many tracks do we have now? Like... Intro... Because we have that one of... Oh, the radio one.
Radio one?
Intro's Moon.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so one...
And then Lounge. Lounges.
So we got 4, if I'm counting correctly?
Yeah, and we just wrote that other one the other day.
Well, yeah, and we're still in the process of writing more.
Yeah, and it's been really cool, actually.
More.
Because mixing it will take a long time.
And he's mostly in charge of that. Hey, and you want to improve your mixing, right?
Yeah, that's kind of...
Okay, can we talk about mixing?
Sure.
You say you're not very good at mixing. And then you
I'm
say
not.
my mixes sound good. And I don't consider myself good at mixing. The only thing I do is, like, what is your mixing process? I like EQ stuff.
Well, yeah,
and
it's
that's
like...
all
So
I like to...
most of my tracks, most of the things that I ever mix, well, almost all of them, like, besides the New American Gothic song, it's like mainly synths. Synths, drum machines, like bunch of synth pads.
Electronic.
It's electronic stuff. And like, I can tell you confidently, after recording a rock song that's bass, drums, vocals, maybe 3 or 4 guitar tracks, I can tell you confidently that mixing electronic music is far harder than mixing rock music.
Okay, well, here's the thing with mixing, because it's like, someone out there could mix that rock song and make it perfection. Like, perfect saturation on the bass, just the perfect amount of, like, reverb on the guitar.
Yeah.
But I think that perfection, it's easier to get like an overall good mix, I think, for the rock.
Yeah,
Because
but
there's like, it's just easier.
well, and
Like it just is.
because it's like I think guitar, like it occupies a certain frequency.
Frequency range, yeah.
Yeah, whereas like synths seem to have more of a broader, or at least the ones that
synths
I
are just
like.
everything.
Yeah, it's
Mostly, yeah. Most synths, I feel like, just take up the whole.
they kind of take up the whole thing.
All the
So
frequencies.
those overlaps that happen, like in a rock song, it's easy to be like, okay, the bass should be here because that should be there. Guitar should be here, and
The
I
kick
think
drum and the bass is probably.
Yeah,
I always find stuff like that be hard.
No, and that's true. And it's not like saying mixing a rock song is super easy. But I think it's easier to hear those differences. And I think with synths, if you have like 3 synth pads, and that's my problem is I do too much on songs. But if you have those things, you have overlaps, and it makes the mix sound really muddy.
Muddy.
And that's my biggest problem is all my mixes sound too muddy. Too much is going on.
Too muddy.
And they don't sound mastered. Even after I try to do a quote-unquote master, they don't sound mastered.
It's like master, actual, final, the final master.
Yeah.
Do your file names look like that?
Oh, yeah. My first song, Echoes, it went through like version 1 to version 20, and then I went Echoes Master 20, Echoes Master 21, Echoes Master 22, Echoes Real Master 22. And then I was just like, I'm done.
Anyone that's mastered anything, I feel like
Can relate to that.
Yeah.
Because your ears just like they get used to a bad mix, and then it sounds good, and then you listen to it a couple hours later in the car, and you're like, this is garbage.
This sucks. I am always just. I listen to it, and then I don't want to change anything. Well, okay, I do, but yeah, I'm just used to it, and then change.
Yeah.
Can be like, oh, maybe that's not good. Like it sounded better before. Like I don't want to mix something and make it sound worse. That's like.
Oh yeah.
Fear of
like
mine.
have to like scrap all the progress you think
what
you've
do
made
you
and
even
revert
do?
to a path to a point where like listening to that is better. I feel that for the song that I'm gonna release next, it's called
Segue time.
Yep. All right.
Heterochromatic.
Heterochromatic. You seem so excited about saying it.
I'm in the song.
Henry is in it more than he was in Echoes. His sax melody is
A little out of time at parts.
but like
It is.
Here's the thing,
And it's like
that's
kind of
grown on me.
noticeable.
it's grown on me though. Like I definitely noticed the parts where it's at, but it's not like a. And I'm the one that
For
like,
me,
it's
it's
my
still
song.
kind of a. But if you don't really, if it doesn't you, then
For me,
that's what matters.
For me, the melody makes up for it, personally.
That melody is pretty like catchy for just
Like it's good stuff.
making it.
And anyway, like version 5, like very early on in the mixing process, like this, like the intro, it kind of starts out with like a very ring shifted, very like it's like sweeping and it's like very mono, but it's like panning left to right and it sounds kind of all over the place. And the point is I wanted to take almost a point in the image of the song and then all of a sudden have it explode into full stereo. And I think that like that difference and that juxtaposition, like for me, I always love that stuff. So when a song goes from like very mono, very almost lo-fi to then boom, stereo, amplified, that is everything to me. And I wanted to kind of do that with this track. And early on, the sax is sounding actually really good. And the way it kind of went to that stereo sound was sounding really good. But then a couple versions later, the more I mixed, the more it kind of lost that punch.
Oh no.
And even now, though I'm really digging the mix, it still doesn't have that punch. And that kind of sucks because it's like I've put so many hours into mixing, into doing it, and in some ways I feel like that it's gotten worse. I know it hasn't, but
I think it's probably overall gone better. Like,
Yeah.
substantially probably better.
No, yeah, and definitely,
I
like,
feel like I've heard, just thinking about it, I think. Playing in
Yeah.
the car, that sax sounded really good.
yeah.
He made me sound good. That's a hard thing to do.
Not at all.
Because, you know, I'm just, the tone is off, the tuning's off.
I love it, and I like and I think, like, as far as mixing goes, the best part that I did was make the sax sound warm. I definitely love the warmth it has.
How did you do that?
I'm gonna be honest, it was a free plugin.
Free
Ta-
plug-in.
Tape cassette.
You used
number
the tape
2.
cassette.
Yeah, and I just kind of,
Whoa.
I kept it, like, the saturation was decent. The, kind of the wow, the kind of detuned, warbly sound, I kept that to, like, almost none. So it still
Yeah.
sounds almost like dry, but it has that tape sound that I love.
Yeah, you definitely made it sound warm. Like, when I listened to it in the car, it was buttery. It was like rotisserie chicken.
But it, like,
So
it's not polished. The mix isn't polished, and the song isn't polished. But I think that's almost having a little bit of
What's
scuff.
not polished about the song?
I-
Besides my playing,
Here's the thing.
frankly.
I think if I knew, I wouldn't have that problem. I think it's just there's something about it that makes it sound. It's like not lo-fi. It's just not mastered. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't sound like a radio edit where it's like professionally done. Where I think Retrogression
No.
does.
Don't go there. Don't go there. Don't go there. No. I don't think. I think they both sound like they were probably mixed by teenagers.
Probably.
I think that's how they both sound. I think Sunny D has Heterochromatic has a way different sound than Retrogression.
Are you gonna?
Is that a segue right now? Are we
Well, I guess
segueing?
I'll wrap up by saying that
L-
I'm gonna release
Yeah.
the next track on my EP
Heterochromatic.
in the next few weeks, probably early August.
I kind of making my track. I was like, okay, I want to release this. And Davis is done with this track. And I didn't really think about that, like,
No,
we're in a record label together, so it's like releasing stuff at the same time is like weird, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, for it's like it's a win-win to not release things at the same time.
Yeah. And so I kind of just barged in on his territory, and I felt bad.
No, don't feel bad. Seriously, like
It's like he had his track done. Mine was still being
No,
mixed, and I was like, I want to release this in like 7 days.
yeah, when you told me that, I was like, okay, 7 days is pretty. Like that would have been yesterday.
Yeah, and it would have been awesome.
No, it would have been like, there's not enough build-up. Like we would have been here getting content, and the song would have already been
We
released.
would have came here earlier.
Maybe.
Or if you couldn't have come, then I would have gone.
Can we just take a minute to?
I know, this is very beautiful. I'm going to take a photo right now.
This is probably awkward, but I'm going to. as
Oh,
well.
no.
Like it's just gorgeous. Anyway, while he's taking pictures, well, I guess I'll tell a story because we're gonna get into Henry's track.
yeah.
One day when we were jamming,
Listen to Heterochromatic, follow Tazita Records, link everything in the description. If you're listening to this on Spotify or any streaming platform of your choice, then just go to the Teddy P or Sunny D or Tazita Instagram and your eyes will be blessed. Listen to Heterochromatic coming out
early August.
early August.
So maybe by the time anyone will be listening to this, it'll be then. How long does it take you to process these?
Oh, this will be done before early August.
Cool.
So if you're listening to this before early August, this is hype, and I've been listening to the song for a while, and it has a special place in my heart. I remember coming out of music theory, junior year, such a bad year, tired, miserable. Maybe not miserable. Tired, annoyed. Last period, Davis comes over, and he's like, "Yo, I'm making a song, and I want you to play on it." And I just kind of want to be like Sunny D vibes, like chill, kind of flowy.
Yeah.
That's like what you said.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'll do it.
Vibes.
And this was a while ago, and now, just to listen to Heterochromatic when it comes out. You can do the segue.
Thank you. Okay, segue. I don't even remember. Were we jamming for Super Studio? Or were we just jamming? Like, was this before we, like... It was before.
I think it was probably before, yeah.
Yeah, so one day when me and Henry were jamming, we were just having a good time. A lot of times our jams, it's like, as with any jam, it's like, you're not playing music the whole time. You're chatting up.
I saw it. Sorry to interrupt. I saw a Reddit post, and it was this guy. I always come late to jam sessions to skip the bullshit at the beginning. And I'm like, there's truth.
Yeah, there is truth to that.
It's like,
But
okay,
also,
we're talking.
Like,
Okay, but
that's kind of fun. I think it's a good way to, I don't know, vibe and connect and kind of almost set the tone for the jam sesh. Anyway, there was a point in the session where, like, I felt like, I don't know, like there was like a kind of a lull. We had stopped jamming for a little while. We were kind of talking, and I was like, okay, let's go. So we went up to my like.
There's a plane. Is that a plane?
Or is that a helicopter? No, it's a plane. Whoa, it's so low.
Dude, what the heck? There's literally a plane, guys.
Okay, well, you're making it sound. It's like planes are like.
Planes are cool.
They're like pretty common, but it's like really low.
Okay, but the plane is like right next to us. Yeah.
That is quite cool.
Okay, sorry.
Anyway,
continue.
so we go up to my local church, and we're playing on the piano and the big organ that is in the church, and we're vibing. We're kind of chilling, and I don't know if it was on the way back, or
way back, definitely way back.
It was on the way back.
Yeah.
I'm telling Henry, I say, okay, we are a part of a record label now, and you need to make a track.
So I signed a contract in the beginning saying I had to release music basically when he...
But it's a very BS contract. Like.
Well, still, I signed a contract, and if you want me to make music, I gotta make music.
Yes.
I'm contractually...
Yeah, obligated.
Obliged. Yeah, obligated. Okay, keep going.
And I just said, hey, like, you gotta make some stuff, because Teddy P was music, you know? That was a music alias.
Yeah, Teddy P, yeah.
But, like, I just felt like it was a shame that, like, and it's not like you're new at this. You've been doing this for a long time, but you don't have any music out. And I just thought that was a damn shame.
Music out on, like, iTunes and stuff.
Doesn't count.
Bandcamp is like Lisa Belladonna.
Okay.
Okay, but none of that stuff is really... I'm not very proud of it. It's like 4 things.
Yeah, and like...
So, yeah.
I wanted Teddy to... see what I did there. To take what he had learned. I think I feel like he's come a long way musically. And I wanted him to use that prowess that he had gained over the previous year and make a new track. And it is crazy because it paid off. It is like genuinely tight, and the mix is good, and it just feels so well arranged, right? Like a lot of the stuff, even in Goodfellas, Sunny D, a lot of just the stuff that comes out of, you know, teenage bands, it definitely sounds like it was just like, oh, this sounds kind of cool, and they just went with it. And that's with everything. Like we just like, oh yeah, that sounds cool. We kind of expand on it. But yours felt like very well thought out, and everything I'm hearing, it feels like it has its place and it's meant to be there. And that's a thing that I personally struggle with. It's like I'm very extra and I put way too much, but yours felt like it had that punch and that color. My car's passing. It's really cool. Anyway, yours felt like it had that punch and that color and that saturation without it being too much. And it paid off. And I'm stoked for everyone to hear it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Freaking
Like I genuinely, I listen to it all the time. Since having it downloaded on my iTunes.
You probably listened to the final one more than me. I'm
Yeah.
sure you probably have.
Yeah, I willing to bet
couldn't
that.
find it on my phone.
And what's really neat is that this first song, it's a double feature.
Yeah.
It's a single but with 2 tracks, and I think it's really cool that it includes almost every area of.
But it feels. Yeah.
No, like
There's
you have a
lot of
really
stuff
cool
in it.
ambient piece that preludes the retrogression, and I'm stoked to kind of see that out there.
What's the date? The 16th? Is
Yeah.
that when it comes out? July 16th. Friday, July 16th.
This Friday.
I wanted, as you said previously, to release it last Friday.
It wasn't gonna work.
I was still.
We didn't have artwork, and it was like I need to submit it
Yeah.
that day.
Davis was like, probably at some party or something, living the Davis life.
What was I? Yeah, I was at some.
No, you were okay.
No, I'm not like at a party. I was probably just.
Whatever,
I
doing
think
whatever Davis is doing. I just text him like, I'm gonna release this thing like now. When I get something done, I mixed it for like 2 days. Which is weird. You spend so much time doing this, and I'm like so lazy, frankly.
But
when it
at the
comes
end of the day, we both arrived at like an end result.
That's true.
And your mixing is like more tight than mine.
I don't think it is. I think mine's pretty bare bones. It sounds pretty bare bones.
No.
That sax solo thing is pretty bare bones.
Well, and it's like same with Cosmos and your stuff on TimeCube. It like.
Okay, yeah.
I think there's
Cosmos
again an interesting contrast between kind of the raw sax that is embedded in the kind of reverbed out kind of very ambient instrumentals and synths and drums. But like I think it's cool that you're able to pull that off because you wouldn't think like putting a raw vocal with putting a raw vocal with like a like a good mix just sounds weird.
That's not
and
good.
Awful.
That's not good. And the sax isn't raw, but minimal.
Minimal, yeah.
Yeah, very minimal. It's not like behind stuff. It's in this track. The saxophone is definitely very present. This is definitely the most sax-heavy thing I've ever done.
Well, and the harmonies, they hit, like, even right now, like, Retrogression is playing in my head. And I haven't listened to it, actually, in, like, 3 hours. And that's the thing, is it sticks. And I think that's really cool. And that's the same thing you did on Heterochromatic, is, like, your melodies, that they stick around.
Yeah, thanks. That's a big freaking... Melodies that stick around. Melodies are hard.
Melodies are hard.
I can't just like write. Okay, saxophone jamming and figuring out like a cool lick I can play over and over. That's one thing. But like writing a melody, like piano or something.
Oh, that's so hard.
It's like.
I suck at it.
Do da da do dee da. Like what?
But what's even harder is like if you have a chord progression, and you're playing. And you have this chord progression, and you want to add a melody on it. It's so hard to not make that melody sound generic. I think it's that's something that I struggle with a lot. Is like
Yeah, you have your chords, and then
I have
it's
my
like,
I have my chords, and my melodies are very, they feel very limited.
Have you done a song with just echoes?
Well, and that's the
I
thing.
feel
It's
like
like I
random
haven't
mel-
actually released any music that
You like have written melody.
But I have some written, and like a couple songs on my
Yeah.
EP don't have sax, and they actually have a melodies. One of them is
Thankfully.
called Light Pollution, and I love the way the synths seem to kind of trickle down, or
Is
and
that
like
the
it's like a yeah, and
It's great.
you could
It's
call that a
beautiful.
melody. It's more just like a run, and it's literally just running down the C minor blues scale.
Okay.
And it just
When you just run down the C minor blues the same.
it's just good.
Okay, Davis. I think you you have way more natural talent at making music. See, here's the thing. No, I've thought about this. You're good at like, okay, you find music and you're like, let's do something like this. You do that every single like second. And you're like, sorry, I'm doing this again. But right?
No, well,
You have this ability to be like, see a vision. I can't really do that well. I don't do that very much. You
but
like
I just think that's like.
You're good at whatever.
Well, and I like. I don't know. I think it's just like some people. It's like there's a vision there, and it's like, right? Like I listen to a song that makes me feel a certain way, and my dream with music is to make other people feel the way I feel when I listen to these songs. So I think because that's at the root of my love for music and for my desire to make music, I think naturally I'm gonna have like those songs that I revert to. That I'm like, I think that's just what I look for in music, like the way it makes me feel, and I'm sure you do too.
Yeah.
But like, I think you kind of grew up in playing music and performing and.
Well, like 7th grade band.
7th grade band.
Yeah, I'm not some child prodigy.
Since then, like, I don't know. I just think it's different. I don't think it's necessarily like mine's better than yours.
No, yeah. I think it's clear you're a music lover. I think that's very apparent when I think about you. Like, it's very clear that Davis loves music and knows the music you're listening to. Like, because you're good at listening to music and getting stuff out of that. Like, the feelings that you get, you're good at. You're good at it, Davis.
Yeah, music basically, like, kind of runs my life.
Yeah.
But because of that, I'm also too picky with music. I think I know what I love, and up until lately, I haven't really been good at branching out, and still I'm not. And I think that's something that you're probably better at.
Like listening music or making music, like that branches out, or both?
Both. Like like probably my favorite artist is like there's like The Strokes, and then there's M83. And my music probably is inspired mostly after M83, and you can like tell that instantly.
Yeah, which is
where
a good thing.
Yours has this
kind
of
mine
authenticity.
doesn't like have that.
Yours has an authenticity though, and it feels original. Like Retrogression, it just has this like, it feels like it fits this vibe, and it feels like I would listen to that on a daily basis, and I would like I wouldn't think that, oh, this is like a local band. For me, it feels like a polished song that I would hear on a well-renowned record. We're being so nice to each other.
Yeah, this is not common. Davis is usually like
so mean.
So mean. Thank you. Yeah, I do. I definitely get when it's like with my music. It's like I can't listen to Retrogression and find like one main inspiration for it, because there wasn't really like one.
Yeah, like you kind of were just doing what you love.
Yeah, which, can be good and can be bad. It's like it is undeniably something that I made, which is cool, but then can also be like bad, because I can make weird stuff sometimes that's like,
well, of course.
Is that good? I don't know, but I made it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, of the 100 sessions I have, 100 songs I've, so you could say I've written, the only ones, maybe, looks like, I think 7 or 8 have made it through.
Do you go in Logic and, do stuff a lot?
And because for me, my writing process is pretty, I don't know. I don't know if it's just weird, it's not like it's weird. I hop on the piano, I'm jamming, I find something that I love, and from there, as I'm playing, I kind of start to get a vision of how the song could be. Wait for this car to pass.
Okay, we're waiting for the car to pass. So, guys, I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are. Hey! Woo! Yeah! Listen to the Heterochromatic. Love those guys.
I guess, I think so I hop on the piano. I think that's where I got that kind of learning how to like get a vision, is as I'm playing on the piano and writing on the piano, I guess I'm envisioning how that song is going to be in as the song, because it's not just going to be a piano song. And I think that's forced me to kind of like take that black and white image on the piano and blow it up and make it colorful.
Else.
I guess that's the way to describe it. And I think what's important is that everyone writes music differently. And I don't think there's any wrong way to write music.
Objectively better way of doing it, yeah.
I mean, I think there's like more authentic ways to write music. I think there's cooler ways. I think there's more like dedicated ways to write music. But I think at the end of the day, if there's heart in it and if there's intent in it,
yeah, you can
it's
say
good in my book.
With some artists, like, there's people out there that, like, they sing and they advertise this as their song. But some dude wrote all of it.
Yeah.
Some dude in a studio just, like, wrote it. And, like, it's
like that kind of blows.
Yeah, but it's what it is, I guess. And I don't listen to anything that would come close to something like that.
And like, I guess I'm thinking, it's like, if, say, take your favorite song in the whole world, and, you know, all this time you thought that it was, like, authentically made by the artist. Yeah. But say all of a sudden you find out that that artist didn't write it. It was written by a guy in a studio, and the person's just singing on it. I wonder how then we would feel about that. About that song.
Not good.
Yeah, like, I think that would degrade it for me.
Totally, it would degrade it. For me, that would be I would feel kind of cheated on.
I guess I think, well, maybe, like, I would just feel like that connection I thought I had with the artist feels gone. Mm-hmm. And I guess that's just it for me. Like, I feel like when I'm listening to a Void song, a Stroke song, I feel like a connection to Julian Casablancas. Like, and I think that's, like, what music is all about in a lot of ways, is bridging the gap between you and someone else by speaking another language that allows you to express how you feel.
That's a good way of
it's like
prophetic over here,
you're expressing the way you feel through music.
Yeah.
Because music without emotion and music without feeling is not music at all.
Well, yeah, that's not music.
And that's why it's considered an art form.
That's sound.
Yeah, it's just like noises. So I think that's kind of the end goal for an artist, is to express how you feel and connect with a listener.
Yeah, sort of connections with this is kind of off. No, sort of weird. So, a few months ago, a jazz pianist, Chick Corea, who I've been listening to since like 8th grade, he played like a massive influence in kind of my upbringing in like the jazz world, because at first, like 7th grade, I'm just kind of listening to old records, and I liked it, but I wanted like more, and listening to Chick Corea's fusion albums and like hearing a synth in jazz alone, that was like a massive eye-opener. But just this whole other world of jazz, that was a massive... So just he's been a massive influence for me, and I've been listening to him for years. And he passed away a few months ago super, super abruptly. They just found like a cancer he didn't know about, and then...
Yeah, he died.
Yeah, he passed away. And there's no vocals in his music. There's nothing... Okay, these guys are back. Jeez, those plebs. But when he died, I just felt so. There was like 2 days where I felt so lost, and I definitely like cried, and it was so weird because I've never talked to this guy in my life. He was like 80 years old, 70. I don't know. He was this old man, just hardcore jazz fusion guy. But it was such a loss to me, and I think that speaks volumes, just the connection you can get with somebody through music, and not even in person, by listening to somebody's music. Like, you get somebody's life in the music that they put out in one way or another, and then when they go, it's just kind of, it's hard. But, you know, in the context of Chick Corea, I will always be listening to his records for the rest of my life, so. Yeah, jeez, it was tragic. He was like one of the last. There's only a few like OG jazz guys now who played with Miles, but yeah, none of this Chick Corea talk. Everyone's like, "Who is Chick Corea?" No one listening to this. That's freaking.
Kind of cool how I discovered Chick Corea. Well, it's funny because this is probably going to make you cringe and probably super sad, but I was in a music appreciation class. It was actually really fun, like learning about the evolution of music throughout history and music history. Like, that was sick.
You got music theory next year. This guy's saying music theory next year.
And I don't know how to read music, so
yes,
wish
that's
me luck.
a bit of an issue. You got it. I'll help you.
But yeah, like I was just kind of browsing through Apple Music, which is something I don't do a lot, but I was looking through jazz, and I even like did some research. I was wondering who was kind of some of the most influential jazz pianists ever, and Chick Corea was on the list. But you know, I didn't hear someone say Chick Corea, so I thought it was like Chick Corea or something.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Did he mispronounce that in front of
Tippets?
Oh, and he's
like, "Oh, you mean Chick Corea?"
Oh no.
And I was like, "Damn."
Tippets tells so many stories about listening to Chick Corea while mowing lawns.
Really?
As a kid, mowing lawns.
I just can't believe he didn't like. I was like, Chick Corea's like, who? And yeah, he didn't know. And then he's like, are you saying Chick Corea? And then the whole, like, 6 people in the class, it was just a very awkward, intense moment.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, since then I've been kind of diving in a little bit here and there. It's good stuff.
He has some insane, like, the thing with Chick Corea, he's honestly probably my biggest inspiration. He has literally done every single thing you can do. Like, truly in music, besides, like, country and pop, whatever, of course. But he's done classical stuff.
Trap music.
Okay, and, yeah, rap. He's done some rap stuff. Not him rapping, but projects with people.
That's actually
He's done classical. He's done jazz. Mostly, probably, I love him for jazz fusion. Latin stuff, like Armando's Roomba, where he's dressed in, like, sombrero on the album cover. He's done some weird stuff. He's just, like, done everything. I think is so cool. He just didn't stick to one thing. And I don't know. I don't really stick to one thing, so maybe that's why I like him so much. But his song to Pharaoh Kings, bro, the biggest synth inspiration I have, like, ever had. Okay, but anyways, blah, 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 blah. That was a funny story.
How much time do we have left?
I think we could probably do some synth jams, right?
Cool. Well, is there anything else we...
Retrogression's coming out. Make music. Make music. If you're listening to this and you want to make music, make music. And I've been doing saxophone for 5 years, and sometimes it's really annoying. But the beauty of it is sometimes it's annoying, but in the end it's awesome.
And for me, like, the number one thing I've learned about music and really about, like, life is that I always heard these people, like, say, like, you know, just reach out for your dreams, just follow your dreams and just do it. And, like,
do that sometimes.
That was always like, okay, come on, like, and it was always like an insanely successful person, like, saying, like, anyone can be me, which is just totally not true, because most successful people probably got there partially due to luck. Like,
born with rich parents in LA.
Yeah, that's
Like,
yeah.
most.
And even the people that they came from like a poor family who were successful, they probably just like kind of did the right thing at the right time, kind of a lucky opportunity. They took it and they did it.
Yeah.
But for me, is I've loved music forever, and I've always wanted to do music, but it was just such an impossibility for me. But I guess I reached this point when I wrote this first song, and I just decided to go for it. I bought an interface for $100, bought a microphone for $100, downloaded Logic, and I just tried doing stuff. I learned pretty quickly that it's very difficult to write music, even more difficult to record it, and even more difficult to mix it. Maybe, I don't know if it's even in that order, but I just kept going, and I kept pursuing it because I loved it. And even though music is not a walk in the park, and it's something that takes time and effort, and if you just like the idea of being a musician and like the idea of making music,
and you
then
can
you won't.
do music as a hobby.
Yeah, like if you are willing to like endure the fact that it's not gonna always be fun.
Yeah, okay, let's say you're literally just doing guitar. A lot of people play guitar, so this is a good example. Like, you want to play songs around the campfire and stuff. Like, if you do 30 minutes a day of practice, just like reasonably focused practice, and everyone can find 30 minutes in their day, even if you're the busiest person, like, you can make time. You will get so far, I'm telling you.
And I think
If you stick to it.
And it's like, doesn't even have to be music. It can be any area.
Yeah, that's the beauty. Yeah, it can be
anything.
literally anything.
It's like, if you love doing that thing, then just go for it. Just do what you love to do, and take those risks that, like, do it. Like, for me, like, the idea of making a beach house song, or making a stroke song, or making all those things, even, like, now at my point, feels like that's impossible. Like, feel like, how did they do that? Like, I could never do that. But I think with each, after each practice session I do, and every time I practice and play,
like, listen
that
to
feels more like...
You made Heterochromatic. Like, take a moment to appreciate that. Yeah. Like, yeah.
And exactly. And a year ago, if I had listened to that, and they said, you made this, I would have been blown away.
You would think you're lying. You won't believe it, probably.
Like, that is so cool. And I think that's the case with anyone, and anyone can do that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that's the thought of the day.
Yeah. Just do it.
Well, thanks for having me.
It
was a pleasure.
This has probably been the coolest podcast I've been doing podcasts since, I think, in 9th grade, pretty consistently. It's probably the coolest podcast. Like, look at this.
Yeah, this is pretty insane.
This is just awesome. And guys, I hope you enjoyed.
I hope you appreciate the fact that we hauled all this gear out to the salt flats when it was 100 degrees.
Yeah, there's been a lot of work to get this. And the camera we might be super dark. This might not even be working.
Oh, the wind might be howling through the mics.
I didn't think about pop filters.
But you know what? I'm enjoying myself.
Cats, yeah.
And I enjoyed talking with you and sectioning out time to talk to Teddy P.
Teddy P and Sunny D.
Doesn't get better than that.
The name Sunny D, did the name Teddy P inspire Sunny D, or was it just a coincidence they rhymed?
I think it was this instantaneous oh, Sunny D's kind of cool, and then there's this realization that Sunny D and Teddy P
yeah. It was like, oh, okay, so we gotta do this. Yeah,
I wouldn't be lying. I would be lying if I said that the drink Sunny D didn't have something to do with it.
Well, of course, the drink Sunny D.
Had something to do with it. It was just all this single moment of realization that, wow, this could actually work, and then I just liked the way it sounded.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm pretty sure Jen might be the only one. Actually,
hey, if you're watching this right now, you are 1 out of 50 people.
Jen, if you've made it this far, I very much
Jill, if you've made it this far, thank you so much. If anybody else made it this far, you truly
are real.
Stop procrastinating. whatever you're supposed to be doing. Okay. Bye.
All right.